What's up, everybody? Philippe Santos, Jamie Nott over here. Chef Jamie Nott. If you're not familiar with him. Today, you guys have the pleasure of having both of us on here. Part of my raspiness, I know it sounds really fucking cool.
Sounds sexy as a motherfucker.
So what's going on, everybody?
What's good, people?
We were just talking a little bit before, and I think we're going to get right into it. So we're going to talk about like scaling businesses. Jamie's done a phenomenal job. He's got 5, is it now?
From the outside looking in, yeah.
Well, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yes.
How does it look on Instagram? It looks very easy. Look at you. You're fucking. You're on the cover of a magazine not too long ago, right?
Not a hair out of place, right?
Just like, bam, fucking. How do you make it look so easy, bro?
You know
what's the secret?
You know what's hysterical is I was driving here on 21.
You weren't getting chauffeured here?
I'm physically spraying my hair with hairspray. It's a torrential downpour outside. I'm like, fucking driving with my knee.
See?
You just make it happen. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
You come from that school. You make it happen. Scaling. Yes, it does look pretty on the outside. Does it always look pretty on the inside? No. 23 was a year of growth and a year of challenges. Personal development, financial development, taking risks, losing, winning, the battles were there every day. But I was ready to fight. And we opened 2 restaurants in 23, right? Madam
Yep.
and Kinjo. And I'm not going to lie, dude, there were some brutal moments, and I think the reason they were brutal is because I was internalizing a lot. Right? I didn't pick up the phone enough. I didn't have face-to-face conversations enough with my partner, and shit got rough over the summer. I was away for a little while. We went to Italy and we were gone, and I was out of touch basically, and then I came back and we had a great meeting. We cleared out some of the cobwebs and we threw ourselves into it. And, I feel like operationally I've never been closer to my businesses or more involved than I am right now. And we were talking about 2024, and that's truly what 24 is about. I am going face first in every one of my businesses, and I want to make sure they're all fiscally responsible and that I can maybe take a little bit of gas money from each this year. You know what I'm saying?
Let me slow you down before 2020.
All right, sorry. I'm excited, man.
We got to extend this episode.
All right, I'm excited, bro.
We're done.
We never have a problem talking. Don't worry about
absolutely.
that.
So, cool. What I heard there in 2023 was a lot of changes. You had to learn how to better communicate.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Right? And all the problems that you had in terms of growth you never had before because you didn't have that many or you didn't open up as many and you had to maneuver it, right?
Right.
I heard a little bit of a cop-out like, hey, I went to Italy. I don't think that's got nothing to do with it.
No,
I
it
think
just
it's
was...
that. No, I'm not saying it the wrong way. I'm just like, I really believe it's the first things. Like, here's the thing, right? Like, you need it and you deserve it, and so does your family, right?
Right.
So we can never. I know for myself,
For sure.
my I'll never trade that in like because I went. Like, if shit was fucked up before and I went, the shit was just fucked up before.
Exactly. It just got exposed.
Correct.
I wasn't there to kind of,
Which was something.
massage.
Here's the thing, like, it's a good thing.
It was
Because sometimes you need that. You don't see it. If you were here and you didn't get that break, you probably wouldn't get that break anywhere else.
You're right.
No, like, damn, I got to come back and turn it on. Like, that's just.
Honestly, it was the best thing that could have happened.
See, that's the difference.
I feel tighter in my partnership than I ever have.
Good.
I feel tighter in my marriage than I ever have. My relationship with my kids. I'm super focused at this point. You see me, you see the difference. No hazy eyes, no bullshit, no excuses. And you're right, it was a cop out. Now I'm hearing myself play it back.
That's just what we're used to saying. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
People,
you want to protect yourself.
You want
right?
to be like, well, maybe I shouldn't have left. Like, no, you should leave. Like, you should do it and fix everything else out. Not that. Because we tend to, emphasize, that's not a priority. That's probably the biggest priority of everything. Making time for your family, making time for yourself, separating yourself so that you come back and you recharge your batteries and everybody else's. And tell you the truth, your fucking employees need a break from you too. You know what I mean? Sometimes the break is like, I'm gonna deal with this motherfucker for 30 days. You might not see it.
I didn't think about that aspect of it, but I'm sure some more than others.
I'm sure if I call them up right now, they're gonna be like, please
I'll give you 3 people. You could call right now and they'll be like, I didn't know until I knew. That motherfucker's wild.
So let's get into. I heard some of your stuff. Like, I know you personally and obviously and everything, but just like scaling. Cool. You have one restaurant initially, the Saddle River Inn, right? That's in Saddle River, right?
Yes.
New Jersey's top restaurant.
I would say
You
it's.
sound hesitant. New Jersey's top restaurant.
I have some humility these days.
New
Phil.
Jersey's top. The guy's fucking
I would say it's.
consistent.
I would say
good.
it's top 3.
I could barely get the fuck in.
I would say it's top 3. No,
Out of the top 3, which one is it?
I don't give you bullshit.
Who are the other 2? But damn.
No.
No, I know. We're not gonna go there. All right, but you got one restaurant, right?
Right.
You're doing great. You're being successful. How many years do you have that restaurant? Just that restaurant before you open up your first?
6.
6. Cool.
Yeah, and it was grind.
Yeah.
It was take everything you learned before and try and perfect this. You know,
putting systems in place.
Putting systems in place, standard operating procedures. In the beginning, it was overwhelming, right? But it's easy when you have no money. Yeah. You're not worried about anything. Can't lose shit. Yeah. You go in the kitchen, we cleaned it up. We were there for hours and hours.
From zero to like really quick, right?
It was not busy from Jump Street. So I bought a business, right? The Saddle River Inn started in October of 81, right? And they were white glove service. They had a Garrett on. They'd roll the cart around, do Dover sole table.
It's like white people did some.
Yeah, white people did some. That's a good way to put it. But they were very different, right? Yeah. They took a chance. They were out in suburban New Jersey. They weren't in New York City, you know? Listen, they took the right chance because they were in the right neighborhood. And they built a tremendous reputation. And, you know, we scaled that business from... They did around $900,000 the last year in revenue.
What was the last year they were open?
2012 was their last full fiscal year. Yeah. Yep. So we started 1/1/13 basically. We didn't open until 2/11. Yep, February.
So
11th.
let me listen. Say whatever you want to say. You go fall back if you want. But in terms of numbers, right? Because sometimes we say a lot of stuff. Other people say a lot of stuff, and it's, you know, it's hard to like translate. So they made about $900,000 that year. Right.
Their last year they did not. Yeah, 918.
Was it like an expense heavy? You know what I mean?
Listen, they
more or less was their margins. Were they making a profit? Were they?
They were. Honestly, it was like a mom and pop business. You know, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
It was really Hans Egg and Imelda Egg. Imelda did all the books, kind of like Krista, my wife, does, and Hans did all the cooking, and I mean all of it, dude. Like, I went in there 2 days just to see the way they ran it. You know. I didn't spend a full day in there because it's vastly different from the way I operate a restaurant. But that being said, I just wanted to see how it worked, you know? And everybody would come in at 3:00 and they would do about 25 covers Tuesday, Wednesday, 40 covers on Thursday. And then they were busy Friday and Saturday. They were kind of on their way out and they knew it, you know? They were over $1 million for probably 6 or 7 years, right?
But once they started seeing it go down, they know.
Yeah, but also Hans was 74. His hands were shaking. That's what I mean.
Like
the
money,
all of
time, everything.
Everything, right? So it was just timing. It was the right time. And
Hans's hands were shaking.
Hans's Hans. I like that, yeah. So, you know, the guy started out 6'5", and he was 6'1" by the time.
Was he solo?
Hans was solo probably from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily, you know? And then all the cooks would come in, but he would like set their stations up and shit, and they would just come in and work service basically. So I ran a different ship. Like, we wanted to run little restaurants inside the restaurant.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is we broke it down into stations. You have a hot appetizer, cold appetizer, meat, roast, and fish station. Yeah. And then pastry, you know, we hired as we got busier. Mm-hmm. We had a dishwasher, you know, one food runner.
So divided up into stations, systems.
Yeah. And everybody's responsible for their own system, right? Their own station. Yeah. They work inside of one big system. Mm-hmm. So everybody writes their order on the board, and then we put it together and do an order at the end of the night. Yeah. So, go ahead. So year one, from 900, we grew to 1.3, and it was good growth.
Let me, before you get into that a little bit, were you looking for a restaurant at the time? Because I skipped that.
I was.
Was it like you and somebody else, an investor? How'd you?
Well, at this point in my career, I was at a corporate level. So I was a corporate chef for BLT Group. Right before that, I was
tomato.
Bistro Laurent Tortadelle is what it stands for. And at that time, I think they had 23 restaurants.
Wow.
They were a very popular steakhouse. You know, they did a really good job. His food was terrific.
Yeah.
You know, BLT Steak on 57th Street was It was an amazing restaurant, you know.
You've been there for a while too.
Absolutely. COVID definitely changed their business drastically. But I learned a lot. I learned how to answer an email. I mean, I got my ass kicked, you know, on the computer every day. And it was tough because I am a kitchen guy. I want to be in the kitchen. But I learned a lot about, you know, how you can do both. But before that I was at artisanal. So I was like executive chef level, and then I got a little higher, but I had been looking for,
all right, so you've been looking is what I'm saying.
Probably 4 years at that point, 3-4 years. I just couldn't find the right spot or the right deal.
And how'd you come across in?
I was working with a Kappas group at the time, and they said, you know, the Saddle River Inn came up for sale, and it was notorious, right? I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Even though I lived 20 minutes away, I never heard
I
of
didn't
it.
either until like a few years ago, to be honest.
Right.
And now social media and everything, obviously it's a lot more out there, but definitely local referral.
Without a doubt. It was kind of their local place, right? And
even food bloggers and everybody, you know, they go to select places.
Right. So it was always mentioned in the upper echelon because it was it's a beautiful place, you know. The barn's gorgeous. Where were we?
Well, like, so cool. So you saw it was for sale, right? Did you get it on your own? Like, how'd you put funds? Did you get investment capital, borrowed?
So my dad was my financial partner and my original business partner, David Madison. Him and I met at Artisanal. He was the GM and I was the chef there. And we kind of hit it off in the beginning. Super charismatic guy, well-dressed, put together. And we said, you know, I think we should do something in New Jersey. He's like, I'm from the Ramsey area. So he knew of the restaurant. He's like, this is a huge opportunity. So he put a performer together. It looked good. By year 4, it was like, this is a real restaurant.
Yeah.
This is, you know, it's going to throw off serious money. So he was my business partner for, I think, a little under 2 years. And it was challenging. I'm a very specific human being, as you know, and so is he.
Yeah.
You know, in his regard. But there were some things that I would see that really bothered me.
Yeah.
You know, I was clean and sober, right? And he liked to sit down with guests and drink.
Yeah.
He smoked in between service, like he would go hit the pen in his car.
So you had different like philosophies.
Just very different. Like, and I don't think he felt the pressure I felt because
was he more of like, I know you said partner.
He was front of house.
It sounded like that he was more investor, front of the house.
He was not an investor, actually. It was so at the time I didn't have my driver's license. Yeah. I had 2 DUIs. I was still serving my suspended sentence. Yeah. About 7 years, 3 months. I didn't drive.
7 years?
7 years.
I lost mine for 8, so that's pretty good. it might have been. That's what makes you successful.
No, it doesn't. So it makes you resourceful.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Of course, it makes you resourceful as fuck, but it doesn't make you successful.
No, but makes you broke from fucking Uber and taxis. Holy shit.
So that's funny you say that, but David would pick me up every day. And then my opening sous chef was Josh Means. He would drive me home every night. I did that for, I think, I didn't have my license the first 16, 17 months we were open, something like that, which is crazy, right? Because we were there all day, every day. We lived there. We had fun. It was definitely an exciting time in my career. But David and I eventually separated, and I don't think he felt the financial responsibility the way I did. And the main reason is because I borrowed money from my dad.
Yeah.
So my dad.
So you were on the line, whether it was the bank or your dad.
I was on the hook.
He just happens to be the bank. You were on the hook.
I was on the hook, and he's like, "Look, I'm a dentist." You know, and I always felt that pressure. He's like, I don't know much about the business. You've done really well in your career. You know, let me help you out. And he did, gave us a loan. You know, we bought some plates and chairs and zhuzhed the place up a little bit.
Lipstick on a pig.
Yeah, I think we put like 48 G's into the restaurant, literally.
Everything.
It was more like throwing things out than anything else. We changed like the vanities, the mirrors, the toilets, very simple stuff, you know? But the chairs made a big difference, taking everything down, a lot of mirrors. We put mirrors everywhere, changed the lighting, you know, simple stuff. Didn't buy any equipment.
Yeah, so all ambiance.
It was all ambiance, yes. Didn't change anything about the kitchen, but the way it was laid out and the way it functioned. And truthfully, when I first went there, I fell in love with it. And then I walked in the kitchen and I was like, I'm not sure I could do this. You know, there's 90 seats in this place, and that kitchen,
Small.
it's small, dude.
Yeah, small.
It's small. People will walk in there like, how on God's
Well,
earth do you produce?
well, cool. So like, where a lot of people would be like, how the fuck, right? And kind of my situation with my first salon too. It's like it teaches you to be efficient with having less space,
Right.
less equipment, less people, correct?
Absolutely.
So talk about it, how like it changed like what you had known already into like cool, adapting to what this place is as opposed to, complaining or fucking just saying this doesn't work or whatever.
it makes you a problem solver.
Yeah.
Instantaneously.
So now you have this gift, right? Where it's
Absolutely.
like, cool. And in the beginning, for everybody, it's challenging because it's like I don't like to do this. I'm not, because it's change, right? I don't like this. It's not my comfort zone. It's not what I'm used to. I like big, spacious, whatever.
Or even state of the art, more modern,
whatever, right? Everybody has a vision.
Yes.
And now it's like it's not perfect, is what I'm trying to put out there.
No, it's not.
Right? It's like
What is?
I know that, but
Right.
you know how people are like,
Of course.
perfection will paralyze them.
Yes.
Because they're like, I won't do it until it's like this.
It's
And
funny.
you walked into a place and you're like, I have to make it fucking happen.
In the back of my mind, it was really the only challenge that I saw for that business, because I drove around Saddle River before my first meeting with the old owners, and I was like, "Yep, we're here, baby. Let's do this."
So now you're there at that kitchen. How many years before you're like, cool, I got this dialed in? I want to know the next step after, like where you're like, cool, then I'm gonna open up my next place.
I mean, I still had basically separation anxiety, like I would. So the next place was Cellar 335.
Before the next place, like what year, right? Were you like, all right, this is fucking like, you know what I mean? Are you there every day? Or
Yes.
Did you like, step away a little bit because you're about to do another one?
I never stepped away. I mean, I got phlebectomy surgery, which is the removal of veins.
Mm-hmm.
I was there that day. I had kidney stones. I was there that day.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, flu, it didn't matter. I was there every day, every party, every event.
But now if you're there every day and now you're like, cool, I'm going to go to number 2.
Right.
Right? So number 2 was a pre-existing business also?
No, number 2 we built from the ground.
Cool.
Yep.
So now.
Totally different.
What made you want number 2, right? And then also, do you know what I mean? Like, what made you want number 2? And also, like, hey, I could be at 2 places at the same time.
What made me want
part of it?
What
right?
made me want number 2?
We were talking about, right? And without mentioning names, a couple people, and they're like very scared.
Yes.
I don't know. I got to be here all the time.
Right.
I'm not ready. I don't have enough money. What if? Right? Obviously.
If you're looking for what's wrong, you're going to find it. You're looking for what's right, you're going to find it.
But what changed in you that after all those years, it's like.
So I met my business partner, Robert Palmer, and we had lunch up on Route 10, and we met through a mutual friend, Josh Fawcett, great guy. Shout out Josh. And Josh and I worked together at BLT actually, also. And he wanted me to consult with him on an Italian restaurant he was going to open in Denville. And that kind of fell through. The lease wasn't favorable. And this place in Jersey City came up from a childhood friend of his, Joe Stingone. What's up, Big Joe? And we went and we looked at it, and I was like, this is not Saddle River, dude. This is very, very different.
Totally different.
It was far. It was a 55-minute drive. Parking. Everything was a challenge, right?
It's
brand new build out.
You're going from suburb to city.
Yep. It was the same.
Jersey City for anybody.
It's the same. The size of the kitchen. Yeah. So I walked in the kitchen. I was like, well, I know I could do this. So, I wasn't worried about it. Exactly.
So you built that up. Good.
And the funny part is, like, Cellar does volume, right? They did 308 covers Saturday.
Wow. Holy shit.
That's volume, bro. Yeah. 98 seats. 3 turns, right? And the kitchen is this big. I'm not kidding. The kitchen is basically the same size of this room.
Now, where you saw something before where it was like, I don't know if I could do it. Now you're like, I could actually do this.
Now I know I can do it.
Smaller, more efficient.
It's more efficient.
Less expensive, less overhead, less headaches.
It's more efficient.
An asset.
You can see everything. And when you're a chef, you want to see everything. You want to touch everything. And that's the beauty of a smaller kitchen, When you're in a big kitchen as a big chef, you're like, you got the headpiece in, you're calling up to your catering department, like, guys, bring down the Anderson party, like, it's wild. So Cellar, Bob and I met on location. It was a favorable lease. At that time Jersey City was not what Jersey City is today. It was shit when we first met.
You got Cellar now?
This is an 8th year operation.
You have that long.
7th year of operation, yeah. 8th birthday in the summer.
2015.
We finished. No, it was we opened in 16.
16. Right.
Yep, 16. 16. Yeah, it'll come up on 8 years in the summer. Yeah, so it just kind of fell in my lap, and it looked to me as like it was almost like a beer hall because there's a concert venue upstairs, and that's kind of there was somebody in there before us, but it was never a business.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they had a concept there, and it was just totally different than the concept I had in mind.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in high school, I listened to hip hop. I love Asian food. I wanted like gritty city, you know, graffiti on the walls, like, you know.
Yeah.
And we built a beautiful restaurant. You still walk in there today, and you're like,
beautiful.
Like, damn, this place is a vibe. Amazing, you know, it's a great restaurant. And right now it's the Christmas pop-up, so there's 50 people online at 5:00 at the front door. It's wild. So thank God it went really well, and it's doing really well.
So how do you manage your time between both?
At the beginning, it was all food development, and we did that in the kitchen at Saddle River Inn, which again, this space was like
so spacious. You were like, why not do food development?
So I had my chef de cuisine, Jared Bain, was there at the inn 5 days a week, like before kind of everybody got there, and then during, and we would eat food, you know, as I would prep and do butchery and stuff. And then once we got in the kitchen down there, we finalized the menu, took the food shots, did that. By the way, Josh ended up building out the bar. And they did a phenomenal job, man. Josh worked at the Nomad. They developed that bar. Like it was a big deal, you know? And now he's in Chicago. He worked at 3 Dots and a Dash. These are like big tiki bars, like super high profile. Amazing job. And nobody was doing what we were doing. We juiced everything. They made every syrup. It was a labor of love.
So you were food development at the inn, right?
Yeah.
So technically what you were doing is utilizing the same resources to do too.
Yes.
And I'm saying that obviously out loud because it's the same with me. When I scaled to my second one,
right,
I was like, wow, you actually cut expenses by opening up. So like the quicker, and everything has to, for the most part, be in order. You have to have systems and everything.
Sure.
But once you do, like open up the second one, if it makes sense, right away, because the same people doing one job could do it for 2 places as opposed to hiring, correct?
Right. And it's really about the people.
Yeah.
You know, and we had just a stellar team. Peter Arnone was our opening GM. And by the time this airs, he'll be back in the company. Mm-hmm. So we hired him as a CEO. He's starting in January. Nice, and I got the chills saying it because I just remember the structure, and I remember the energy, and I remember...
What was his position before?
He was the general manager at Cellar. He was the opening general manager. Yeah. We had serious firepower in there, man. Like the team was, you know, was a brigade basically. I brought one of my sous chefs from the inn. Yeah. I started to make some trades, you know, some changes. Now we had 2 teams, and we had to, you know, we had to put some leaders in place.
Absolutely.
And Cellar took a while.
Did you ever? I know I came into some struggles when I did that too. I was like, cool, I have 2 teams and changing players and this. I noticed like in the beginning, as I grew, I'm like, cool, I'm going to take you from here and put you here. And it was great, but it created a whole here now. Right. So I had challenges like that where I had to like figure it out and learn it. And doesn't matter how many, you know, things you read, how many seminars you go, you have to just go through it.
You have to go through it
and make changes quickly. Right. But I do remember this last year specifically where I was doing that. We bought a group of salons, and it sounds like the best fucking, you're performing so good, you're a leader. Let me take you out and put you over here without feeling that whole
especially you take them out of you know, your principal business, the one that puts stacks in your pocket, right?
But the one they're good because it is that team and they're controlling it and everything. And now they have to create and you know what I mean?
I think the reason the inn was successful is because of the team, and it stayed there for a long time. It stayed in place. There was always one spot that was hard to fill, and it was the salad station, cold appetizers. And I was like, why the fuck is this so challenging, bro? And a lot of my regulars are upset, but I had this dish called the tuna carpaccio, and it was like my dish, you know? Yeah. I took it off last year and changed it to a tuna tartare, and people still ask for it, and I still do it for regulars. be careful. And, you know, I lost probably 4 or 5 guys on that, bro, because my bad. They would be there till midnight pounding fucking tuna, cutting it out in a circle. And I was like, that can't be the reason. But I finally admitted to it and I took it off. And
sometimes it's that simple.
It's crazy, right? But my point was that we kept a lot of the same staff. I have my general manager now at the inn is Anthony De Palma. He's doing a fantastic job. He started as busboy. You know, Nick Karuba, they've both been there over 10 years. You know, these guys are great. They're pillars. Ty Anderson, like these guys are with me for years and years and years, you know? So it's really about continuity and people taking pride and ownership and them treating it like it's theirs.
Well, how do you, because obviously I do it a different way. Cool. I understand it, right? Take care of your staff. Your staff will take care of you for the most part. Choose the right one. You're 1, 2, 3. After people are there for a long time, things change in their lives. Family,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
their expenses are different. Their goals are different.
Yes.
Obviously, no matter what, you're not, if you have 10 people, you're not going to keep all 10.
No
right?
doubt.
So you were saying, you know, act like it's theirs and
Right.
sounds good.
It does.
But it ain't fucking mine. That's, as an employee, I remember saying that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So how do you
Well,
know?
you're a little different than the average bear, but you know, we continued to grow.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody saw opportunity, you know, and if you,
So is that what you're just doing? You're like creating more opportunities for them?
I'm creating more opportunities for them. Absolutely. And I, you know, even in a pre-shift, I'll say, guys, the less I'm here, the more opportunities I can create for everybody in this room, you know, because that's kind of what I've found my job to be. You know, I love to create in any way, shape, or form. I have a very creative brain. It's really, it's where I function best on my highest frequency. But, you know, to the point, like I said, Anthony was a busboy. Obviously, his finances have changed, right? Mm-hmm. He's a general manager now. It's very different. Nick started as a food runner. He's, you know, like one of my lead servers. Like,
and you have, and listen, I know because it's the same situation, right? Like you have pride and fulfillment watching these people grow and that you can create these opportunities for them.
Exactly.
And it's
He's
cool.
got 2 kids. I just got his Christmas card. We opened it yesterday. Like,
but when, and I'm just going to like, I'm
go
just
ahead.
poking the bear a little
Beat me
bit,
up.
right? It's like, cool, right? Like, and I said cool because I did it too, right?
Yes.
Cool meaning like up to this chapter.
It's almost like talking to yourself a little bit sometimes, right?
It's the same word.
Yeah.
We've always been like, oh, it's different what you do. It's really fucking not.
It's
the service
not.
industry. It's the challenges. How do you overcome them? You're not fucking unique. It's just not, right? It's the same fucking thing. We have more things in common than we don't.
Definitely.
So cool. You get to hear, because you're telling my story too at the same time. Right. So it's like, cool. Now you're going and we're going to skip 3, 4, and 5. It's a different fucking animal.
It's a different animal.
You don't have as many people to pull from. You can't grow them as fast. You can't, like, these are my challenges, right? You can't grow them as fast. You throw more shit. Now they're overwhelmed. They're like, this was cool the way we were going.
Right.
You got 4 or 5. Yeah, but you could be the GM. You could be regional. You could be this, right? It comes
Not
to
everybody wants that, man.
Or they do, and then they get it, and
they can't handle it.
And you're like, but you chose it. Yeah, like those are some of the things.
They sure are.
Like, when do you start bringing outside help? And how and talk about how delicate of a thing is.
It's so
to
delicate.
Bring outside help. They don't know the culture. They don't know it, but they have experience.
Not only that, at the same time, you know, you start to lose a little bit of touch with those people who built it all in the beginning, right? And then you start to make decisions based on that, and that's bit me in the ass. I don't want to get into specifics, but you know, when you develop relationships with people, you rely on them maybe more than you should. And, you know, they take advantage of it in certain ways, not to be, you know...
there's an emotional attachment.
There's an emotional attachment.
That's not a business where it's somebody you didn't...
There's no malintent.
That's what it is. Yeah,
right.
Correct.
There's no
that's
malintent, and they show up every day and they do a good job, but they don't do the same job that they used to do when you were watching them every day because they wanted to grow, you know?
Because you're not there.
I'm not there, but hiring a different skill set, you know, growing into that skill set, that's a different kind of talent. That's you squashing your ego and saying, you know, I don't know what I don't know. And sometimes that's the hardest lesson to learn, but it's the most important one. It was for me. So after Cellar, you know, we got some critical acclaim. It became busy. And it took years though, man. It really did, because the neighborhood was rough. Yeah. You know, it was a little pricey, no parking. All my regular clientele that I took 6 years building in Saddle River, they're like, fucking driving to Jersey City, bro. I'm gonna go get hammered 55 minutes away from my house. It seems like a DUI waiting to happen, you know. And they all went there once, twice. Now they'll go there a little more often, close to the city.
Create a new clientele there.
I did. I had to create a new clientele, and we had to train them a little bit because, you know, it's a totally different concept, right? So Cellar. After that, we opened Saddle River Cafe, and that was a struggle from Jump Street.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think I never let it become what it wanted to be. And what I mean by that is, like, I changed the concept probably almost 3 times, you know. So it was like a local coffee place in the beginning. I wanted to do breakfast and lunch. Yeah.
What's your next one?
So
Saddle River.
The cat.
I'm doing my interview guy.
Yeah. So the cat
King.
The cafe was breakfast and lunch to start.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to pillage from my own business, which is right across the street, Saddle River Inn, Saddle River Cafe. Number one, I would have done a different name.
Across the Little River.
It's across the Saddle River, actually. You know, and that's what the first logo was.
Yeah.
It was a little place across the river, like, you know. But in hindsight, I probably would have named it Jamie's or something like that, you know, just so it would have got that kind of instant notoriety, you know. But it was a struggle. We opened at 5 or 6 a.m. in the beginning for coffee, and I was there every day. And I was like, "What the fuck am I doing, bro?"
You also, listen, I understand the scheduling thing. Sometimes, like when I opened the salon the first time, it was every day from like 8 to fucking 9 at night, and I'm like, "We're not missing nobody." And then I told them, like, "Listen, we're gonna do it like this,
right?
Figure it out." And then, you know,
what is it now?
The one, it's open every day from 9 to 8.
That's better than 8 to 11 or 8 to 9, right?
No, listen. What I'm saying is, like, when I first did it, I didn't have the capacity, the people for it, anything.
Right.
Now, and I have shifts, and it's a little different.
Right.
It's a different animal, but essentially anything I opened, like Miami was like that. We opened up Miami. We're like every day. We had 2 teams, everything. Then we're like, nobody fucking
That's
works
not what
over
Miami
there.
is.
And then it's like nobody's coming in till like 10, 11.
Right.
This right, and definitely not Sunday because they partied all weekend. So
right.
You open it and then you make adjustments.
And you figure it out. So that's what we did. We opened it, we made adjustments, and now we're on our 3rd iteration, and it's working really, really well. Finally.
I was just there the other day, and it was phenomenal.
Thank you, man. Really good. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think the team has hit a stride. I think the place looks better than it ever has.
I think there's some good flows with the inn too, in terms of service and quality too. It's which is good. Very similar, yeah.
Right, yeah, and you see some faces too, right? It doesn't hurt. I try to utilize some of my younger staff that maybe is busing or running at the inn to get service shifts at the cafe.
Again, utilizing the same people.
That's it, man. But again, it's that continuity. It's that feeling that people get that experience. Like, oh, you know, Mr. Epstein, how are you? Nice to see you again. Sorry, but that's the first one that came to mind. It's the first one that came to mind. I should have said double E, bro.
We're gonna skip to, and then you open, and then and then and now Kinjo, right?
Listen, so
now you're at 5.
So wait, but let's get to 4. I'll be quick, I promise. So with Madame, it's located behind Cellar, and they're connected through a corridor. We share the same building, and
liquor license.
Same liquor license, yes. And I mean, it's huge. But from day one, I always was like, what's going on back there? I love that. I want that spot. And I had a concept for it originally that we didn't end up using. It was the Emerald Room. I wanted to do like walk around dim sum, geisha girls, you know, like kind of clubby, like bottle service. I wanted to do that. It was not conducive with my personal life at the time, so we went with a fine dining French speakeasy. Anyway, I always had my eye on it, right? And as soon as it became available, you know, we had a conversation. That conversation took about a year to hash out because, you know, the owners weren't really ready. They thought they were ready until the price came, and I was like, you guys aren't really ready. And then the price got a little better, and then a little better, and then a little better, and then it made sense.
And it was some pressure of you asking and pushing.
Yeah, and me leaving it alone actually really was what made them come back and want it more.
Yeah.
So they tested the market, right? They listed it at $1 million first and foremost. Then everybody's like, sorry, bro, you got 52 seats. Yeah. You know, you're on a back street. You know what I mean? It's not happening. We came to a deal, redesigned it, D&G Interiors.
Bought it all out, or you did financing?
We paid for it flat. Yeah, with cash. Seller did well. So we had a little extra money in the account, and we didn't have to borrow any money. Sorry, we did have to borrow money for the cafe. I never got to that, and you wanted to talk about financing. Put my house up. The bank has second position on it. All that stuff. My wife had to sign for it. She was like, "Wait, this is different now." I'm like, "This is how I felt at the end. Now you know what it's like to have your back against the wall."
But it also
Figure
gives you that whole you have to succeed.
You have to. That's why that's why we're on our
either that or you got to buy a big truck because you're gonna be living in it.
Bro, that's why we're on our third iteration, right? Like we're going full balls to the wall. So, Madam, beautiful design, big opening, solid team. Went through challenges, man. Full disclosure, we're on our fourth chef and our fourth GM in a year. That sucks, and it was tough, but we've hit our stride again now, and I just see it. It's building week over week.
You did it in a year.
We did.
Some people could hear, "Damn, 4 in a year, that's fucked up." What I hear is like, "It doesn't work. Get the fuck out. Doesn't work. Get the fuck out." Until it happens. And I'm saying that because a lot of people again are fear-based, like, "Fuck," and what do? And I've done it. You keep somebody on that shouldn't be there, but because you don't have a replacement, you're like, and what happens? The whole place becomes a cancer.
You talked to me about it, man.
Redo the whole fucking thing.
We had this conversation about it. We really did, and I don't think I was specific on location and personnel, but you were like, "Dude, you got to cut it out. You got to cut it out. You got to cut it out."
I'm like,
"You got to cut it out."
2 conversations.
I think we went through a period where we were almost too quick. It was like your fucking Yosemite Sam's pulling up. You know what I mean?
Hire slow, fire quick, man.
I mean, it's true. Yeah. It's true, and
you're starting to develop the emotional detachment that most entrepreneurs and small business vilify you for not having.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, you're all about the money." I hear it all the time. "You're all about this," and I'm like, "No, it's a business. And this is where it's supposed to end up. And this is what I have to do. And so I have to make a calculated, professional, logical business decision."
Absolutely.
When you muddy it up with feelings and everything, and I'm an emotional person, I'm a people person, always, it's not the easiest.
It's
not. But after getting fucked, burnt, whatever,
of it.
And it's always my fault because I did.
You waited too long.
I left them there too long.
Yeah, right? You left them there too long.
The milk expired and I was still fucking...
Yeah, drinking at it. Like, it'll get better. It'll turn to sour cream.
So, and before we get to your last one, so like, this is all cool stuff because like where everybody sees problems and this, it's like you're developing skills. You're growing. You're becoming a leader. You're becoming like... Because outside people see year one and see like, "Damn, this motherfucker's making shit happen."
Right.
With all these challenges.
Right.
Your value goes through the fucking roof. Not Ruth. It goes through a lift now. Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Cool. So just on time, speed up. Let's go to
we're on time, bro. We're on time. We got plenty of time.
Well, 2024 still. That's why.
No, I hear you.
Challenges that you had, madame. You had 4 chefs, right? You're dialed in right now. Right?
Yes, we're dialed in, man.
When
we're making it happen.
You were like, "Listen, you know what I need that's going to help me? Another restaurant."
But here's what the good part of it is. Now we're planning ahead. Mm-hmm. Now we see if the writing's on the wall.
You learned it.
That's it. It was hard, man.
Yeah.
It was hard. I'm not going to say it was easy. It was not.
Did ego get into it a little bit?
I don't think it did. I don't think it did this time. I really don't. I think it was more about, "Wow, I expected more out of you. Let's see if another week." Mm-hmm. Nope, that's done. Let's move on. Yeah. Let's find a replacement. Right. And I'll be very truthful. Chris Abamondi's the chef at Cellar, and he oversees Madam.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking hitter, dude. The kid's he's a blue collar kid from South Jersey that he's got his eye on a prize. He shows up to work every day and does a great job. And that kept it in place. I'm sorry. I'm still on my pre-workout. I've been going to the gym.
War.
Total War. We talked about that before too. Anyway, Chris, thank you. I appreciate your hard work and dedication. So moving on.
Dedicate this podcast to you, Chris.
Moving on. Kinjo kind of fell on our lap. Dave Berry owns the Irby. They're high-rise apartment complexes in urban areas, right? And I think they have 9 of them now, and they have 3 more in construction or pre-construction. They're growing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So he has one in Jersey City, and they've been to Cellar 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. They asked for a meeting with my partner and myself. We hit it off. He asked for a concept. drew up a nice concept. We went on location. Space is sick.
Yeah.
For Newark, I think the neighborhood's top notch, right? It's probably as good as it can be. There's a lot of businesses around. There's school around. There's students. There's just a heavy walking population. So it's a Japanese concept in downtown Newark, and the place it's gorgeous, right? I mean, it's
listen. They're all different. This one's really stunning. You really. I told you that. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really. It has 3 different rooms.
Wait, it's got a fucking DJ, right? Like world renowned.
DJ Joey Mazza, yeah.
DJ, what do you call him?
DJ Baby Girl.
DJ Baby Girl.
So shout out DJ Baby Girl.
Shout out Joey, man. Joey.
Love you, bro. Love you, kid. I actually listened to that pod this morning.
Yeah.
On the way to and from the gym. It was a great podcast. Super emotional, but funny. Like you fucked with him the entire time. In the nicest way possible, right? Because we both love Joey, but he's instrumental.
Yeah.
And that's pun intended. I mean, the guy plays music, but he plays so much more than that.
He plays from his heart,
and he really loves it though.
Yeah.
Like he's at each table. It's like, damn, Joey, back up, bro. You know what I mean?
He really loves it.
Yo, he fucking really loves it. Yo. Yeah, he really loves it.
Don't invite him to a meeting and watch what happens.
What's funny is that we started using Joey at Madam.
Yeah.
And I tried to get him to play Thursdays too, and he played last Thursday, and it was a hit. And I was like, dude, you see?
You're doing the same thing that you're doing, like, so it's the same thing that happens to me, right? So it's like, you don't just open up businesses or buy this, right? We do it with intention of helping other people out, creating opportunity. And he has nothing technically to do with the hospitality business. I know the other things, like it was kind of like a connection there.
Right.
That connection, now he's DJing. Now he's DJing here too. Now he's becoming a part of creating all these people opportunities, right? So, I wanted to say a little bit. Let's talk about, though, also in Kinjo, it's in Newark. Newark's up and coming again, right? It's downtown / the college area, right?
Right. It is. I would call it College Row.
NJIT, and you have Essex County College.
Yep.
Right? You have the 3 right there.
They're right there.
There's a lot of building going on, but you're still taking a chance that you're the only, if not 1 or 2, but like
we're taking a huge chance.
Fine dining / fast casual, like somewhere in the mix of that. Did I say that correct?
Yes, and honestly,
it's a beautiful place, phenomenal food, right?
People were surprised at the build out. They're like, really, this is
still a risk because nobody's done it.
Nobody's done it, and it reminds me a lot of Jersey City. So I have that comfort level there, where I know if we do the right thing, the food's right, the drinks are right, the hospitality's right, and now we're starting entertainment from the beginning, it's going to happen. It's happening.
Also, you had a chef that was working for you in Jersey City that you brought over there, right, Chef Bill?
Well, Bill...
I know previously he was working somewhere else, right?
Yes, he was somewhere else, and we brought him on early.
But that's what I mean. Before the reason, place was open.
That's it. Right. We brought him on early to do development again. Yeah. Bill loves Japanese, super talented, loves ramen, immerses himself in it. He's all about his broths. But that was part of the concept. Bill and I had a conversation a year before I had that meeting with David, or eight months, let's call it. And that was all in the back of my mind as it played out. How do we put all these pieces together as, the beautiful mind, right? On the whiteboard, My wife's like, how are you so clear-headed? I'm like, I have a big whiteboard in my brain, and I'm just jotting things down.
I take a picture before I erase it, too, because it's just like, to me, I'm just like, at first it's getting it out of it's a brain dump, right?
Yes.
So, like, getting it out of my brain, and then you can look at it, you can make adjustments, because in here, it's tough. But
it is, but
I love it.
It's the best part about it, right? The creative part.
That's cool.
Getting back to a little bit to entertainment, right? Like, now we have music in all of our venues. Like constantly, whether it's guitar or a duo or, and I think it's really changing the dynamic because the staff enjoys it more too. It's not that mundane, okay, dinner service, this, that, the other. Yeah, it's more about like, oh, something different.
Energy,
That's it. And when guests come in too, they're like, oh, wow, Wednesdays, Julia, and we mix it up now too. Yeah. We're even doing music on Saturday brunch at the cafe. It's guitar and vocal, but it's just different. It adds something truly, and I think that's the unique character now of the restaurants. I want everybody when they walk in the door, they're like, maybe not restaurant. You know what I mean? Like to have that thought process. Like I want to be known for that. first the look, right? The aesthetic. And then when you sit down, the hospitality, the smile.
Let me ask you, right? So, because it's like, how the fuck do you run around and manage all 5 restaurants?
I'm not that great at it. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
Down for somebody who just doesn't know. Somebody's got their first restaurant,
right?
The kind of we're talking about,
right?
And looks at you like fucking as a god, the food god. You know what I mean?
Does anybody look at me like that? I don't.
They do though. Like you might
see,
not
I
hear
don't.
it,
Yeah, I don't.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, or if they don't, regardless. But it's
right.
like they look at you as the example.
Okay.
Let's put it like that. Right?
Okay.
I don't want your head getting that fucking big. No, actually, ready? I'm just gonna, nobody's ever said that to me. So. That was me just being really fucking nice, right?
You're the hair god, right?
I don't know.
The hairless god.
There is a hair god, and there is a fucking food.
There
god,
is,
so. And it's not us.
We ain't it.
But all right, so like, you know, break it. Like, don't give me the details exactly of what it is, but like, how do you manage it? Do you have people that run it?
Yes.
Do you have people that call in? When do you stop by? When do you don't?
So we're figuring it all out, right? But for the most part, there's a general manager and a chef at each property.
And give me like
and they report to us.
What does it look like during the week? Your schedule.
It really depends. The last 3 weeks I've been cooking at the inn at night
because you needed to.
Right. So during the day, like Bill's off on Wednesday and now he's off on Friday, so I'll expedite at Kinjo.
Cool.
Right. If I can sneak down on a Thursday and get somebody to cover me at the inn, I'm going to Madam.
Cool. All right.
And then they're connected with sellers, so I'm there and you can see me.
But you're looking ahead at your schedule. And like playing, I just did this at the office.
Yeah, I'm penciling myself in.
We schedule the 4. There's actually 6 of us there, and we schedule who's where, who's when. Because when I used to do like when I have time is when it's a fucking mess.
That's right.
All right,
that's right.
Cool. So now, cool. You have not perfection, but like this is how you're growing and figuring it out. You have some systems in place.
We do.
You have some people.
You're
getting quicker when shit doesn't work out. Cool. Let's remove it right away.
Right.
Let's fill it with this.
Right.
Or step up.
And it's a little wonky, right? I mean, things change on a daily basis, you know, but for the most part, we know where our revenue is. Mm-hmm. We're projecting our revenue. We're projecting our labor. We're projecting our, you know, what it's going to look like. Food costs, everything, you know, so we're pretty detail oriented in that regard. Sure and it's getting better daily and weekly.
I'm sure you have weekly meetings and like where you get reports, KPIs, everything.
Yeah, weekly food calls, weekly calls, but really daily snapshots, right? Mm-hmm. So our reports are pretty robust. Mm-hmm. Last week to date, you know, even like at the inn on Saturday, I have my food cost percentage, labor cost percentage, everything's on there, right? So you see exactly where you are and you know where you're trending every day.
So like for anybody scaling, that's important. The reports, the KPIs, right? Look it up, you don't know what it is, analytics. The data is important, right?
Data is very important.
When you have it in front of you, there's small adjustments. When you look at it month to month, it's already a big fucking adjustment.
That's right.
And it might be too late already.
It
so like
usually
we have weekly meetings, and it's not everybody because you don't want to be meeting the fuck out either. It's the key people, and not everybody's a key person. We have 3 or 4. We also do our schedule at the same time where everybody's at. Most are at the same place, but like we were doing today, like what does retail look like? What does retention look like? What is services? And you know, what are gross sales? We also have a daily number, like this is our average daily.
Right.
What are we projected to perform by the end of the month? If we're a little short, we're like, cool, because then the game plan comes. So it becomes very like, you know.
So let me ask you. I'm interested on your structure as well. Like, so you guys grew, right? You bought a group.
Yep.
And what happened at that point? How many did you have? What did your company look like right before you made that purchase? And then what did it look like a month after that?
We had 4, I believe, and then the month after that we had, because we bought another one too, we had 9. So it was a fucking big jump.
Right.
And we weren't ready.
Right.
Shit didn't go right.
Right.
But I'll tell you now, like we're making it happen.
Okay.
Made some adjustments, and I think, like you said, because of that, we're better everywhere else.
Right.
Because
you went back to your originals and said you started to change.
Tighten up everywhere.
Right.
I wouldn't say necessarily like we went back to our original. We created a whole new plan.
Okay.
Because what got us to like 1, 2, 3, 4 wouldn't get us to 9.
Okay.
And just the mom and pop just didn't work when I got to that.
So is not our 9 operating at this point?
8 are.
Okay.
We're renovating 1 right now.
Okay.
Right. So
and where are they all located?
8 are in New Jersey and 1 is in Miami.
Okay. So give me the towns. I mean.
So we have in Bergen County, primarily northern New Jersey. We have Ridgewood, we have Tenafly, we have Gloucester, we have Emerson, and Maywood.
Which one is under construction?
Tenafly.
Okay.
Uh,
I think that's going to be a good one.
Tenafly's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So the other thing too, right, is like we had to change concept.
Did you change all of the concepts, and how did you do it?
So we have two originally running the same way they do.
Okay.
They actually do very well.
What are they called?
Celebrity salons.
Okay.
And then the other one is Blur, and then the new one will be Blur also. We're going into Blur.
Okay.
BLER.
Okay.
Call them. And what we learned is like, so the other ones, the original ones we have are like high-end luxury boutique salons, right?
Okay.
Like big tickets,
Right.
big changes, color, everything.
Color extensions.
Think of it.
You're there for 3 hours.
Think of it as the Saddle River Inn.
Tasting menu.
Hair, right? And then these other ones are probably going to be more in the sense of the Kinjo, fast casual. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So like we were.
Which ones did you keep and why? Like same concept wise, like
the
a couple of them were blowout shops.
The
like
original four.
They stayed celebrity.
No, the original four that we had.
Got it.
Before the purchase.
Yes.
Then
Artist room.
Yeah, artist room.
Artist and architect.
Maplewood and artist.
The room. Got it.
The other four are going to all change, right? They just haven't yet.
Okay.
So it's like you can't. That's the other thing we learned, right? So we bought four, and we're like, cool. We're gonna renovate them right after the other. Just knock it out, and then we ran out of money.
Right.
So we did one.
Okay.
We did Miami two.
Okay.
We bought all the equipment, everything, because it was cheaper bundle to get it from everything. And then now we're at three.
Got
it. We're like, we moved too fast.
Okay.
We can't build them out that quick. Just like cash flow started getting fucked up.
Right.
It gets a lot more difficult to hire. You're hiring from the same pool. There's no way they can regenerate that quick.
Got
These
it.
are all good things to learn because I just didn't know what it was.
And they're not far apart, really. I mean,
no, New Jersey's so overpopulated because even the other ones aren't.
Right.
But they're fucking busy.
Right.
They're like monsters. You know what I mean?
And what's what's an average ticket, right? So I understand. It's almost like a check average for me. You know, it's the same.
It is like an average ticket. Most of our services are $300 to $500.
Wow.
If you get into extensions, you're like $1,000,
wow,
$1,500.
Just stuff I don't even know about, right?
Yeah. Now listen.
Think I should get some extensions, or what? Am I looking all right?
Highlights.
No, I don't, dude.
Those are natural highlights. It's all right, bro. Okay. I got highlights too.
Yeah, you do. Touch of gray.
Let me get my drink of water really quick.
Yeah, take your time. But the ones that stayed,
the two older ones that stayed, they actually produced really well, which had us rethinking like, do we even like we're gonna have to like redo? They were just older. Right?
Yeah, just clean them up a little bit, right?
The reason we bought them, and instead of opening up new ones, is because of we got their systems, we got their employees. Like we looked at it, cool. We also did owner financing, which for those four and the one before, which is a game changer. Right?
Absolutely.
So like they're the bank.
Right.
Right. You know.
And the business, the idea is that it pays for itself.
Pays for itself, right?
Right.
We have a few investors, small, so the down payment was pretty much the investors, which was great. You know, friends and family really
not really coming out of pocket.
No, so where we messed up is like for capital improvements.
Got it.
Right? I didn't.
There was a shortfall.
I had to learn. You know what I mean? I was like, cool, we're enough, and then it's like you start just. Like,
so what does it cost to take over a salon that was built in 1983 and make it into a Blur?
At least like $150 each one.
Okay, that's not terrible.
No, listen. It's $150. You put the time and everything else, and then you're looking at $2 minimum.
Okay.
You know, but when you got 5, right?
Right. You need a mill off Jump Street.
Right.
That's without equipment, or that's equipment?
That's equipment. That's pretty much everything. It's around 2. You know, listen. One's going to be a lot more because we're going to have to gut it. The other ones are actually the owner that sold it to us actually still works for us. Him and his wife. He's fucking awesome. Marios and Talene. Just with him before. Older gentleman. He's like, I don't want him to leave because he's so like experienced.
Right.
He knows he owns the buildings too.
It makes people feel good when they walk in.
He does. You know what I mean? But he also, you know, he's like that resource that like, why would I?
Absolutely.
Like,
what does a ticket look like in those?
In those, they're faster. So they don't do.
Is it like cut blowout kind of thing? They're not big color.
They do color too, but older clientele, right?
So blue.
So they're more volume, as opposed to our philosophy, which is like be efficient with your client, spend the time,
right?
Like the inn,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
As opposed to volume. One's volume, one is just like service. You know what I mean?
Got it.
It's just a different model. So moving forward with all those, we're like, cool. What's the what's the middle? I don't want to necessarily do a blowout bar, but and because of employees too, because the amount of time it takes to train employees and get them up there, we can just do like not a blowout bar, but a little above it, where it's a blowout bar plus other services at a different price point.
Right.
Right, because it's just like maybe not as much experience. Right, and so it'll also be a feeder to the other ones as you get good over here. So we have a school, cosmetology school. We have our own education academy, Gang EDU. That's how we educate everybody. Our systems, what we want, go from assistant to protege to a stylist, also advanced. That feeds all the salons.
So they get paid for that? Is that sponsored? How does that work?
So we pay.
I was always curious.
So for us, that's fine. It's a great question. So for assistants and proteges, we pay the minimum wage, whatever it is. They're learning though. So how they get paid is also they get education. They get our boot camp. They get hands-on.
Right.
They're in the salon. You know what I mean? Think of it like an apprentice.
Right.
Essentially what it is. Except we're paying them, which is.
You're paying them to educate them.
Yeah, correct.
But again, you take care of them, they take care of your business eventually.
It's not always like that, right? Because we educate a lot of people, and out of 10, if we keep 6, we're lucky.
Yeah, and that changed, right? After COVID, the way people think about money, because everything got expensive. So
it changed, especially for younger people. It changed because of their patience. And this is a plus when I say it, not a complaint. There's a lot more information on YouTube, on IG, anywhere online, where before it used to be you had to go to a salon. It was the only place you could go after cosmetology school to learn. So they had a monopoly and they owned everything on it. Now that changed. We were already there and we adapted, and a lot of our stuff is online, and we work with other manufacturers and distributors that do education. But like, cool. How do we incentivize to keep these people for at least a couple years to get our investment back?
Of course.
Before they go to another salon.
There's probably 2-year break even, right?
Yeah, so it's in volume. The answer is that we have to, our job is to always feed. Our job is to always give people an opportunity that another salon maybe doesn't have.
Right. You're the rainmaker.
That's it, man. We're trying to grow. Look, it's fun. It's what's cool is I have an outside perspective because I'm not a hairstylist. Right, so I have.
I think that's helpful, right?
I think it's very
but
helpful.
All of your partners are stylists.
Yeah, where you look at
they have
salons,
different specialties, right?
Nobody has that separated.
Right.
They're all stylists that became business owners, and great, rightfully so.
Right.
I have I look at things differently. I don't have the emotional attachment as much as
sure.
They do. So
because you're not spending that 8 hours next to
but not just that. Like I could separate it where it's like, cool, I'm gonna look at this as how it does best for the business.
Right.
Where my wife's a stylist, she's going to look at culture and everything else,
right.
which is equally,
super important,
if not more important, right? But you can have both. So how I look at stuff, like we do a lot of marketing. We used to own all the space in terms of Instagram, Facebook, and Google Ads, right? Because no salons did it. They're referrals forever. They did magazines maybe that were dying out, right?
Okay.
So we did that. That made us really successful. Now everybody's doing it, so it changed and everything.
Sure.
You got to adapt. The other thing too is we recruit, right? In our industry, and I'm sure in yours, it's like a frowned upon dirty word, right? But the thing is, like, what we're really doing is offering somebody a better opportunity. Because if they're good, they're good.
Well, that's.
But I'm not gonna wait, and I'm not gonna apologize, and I'm not gonna fucking feel bad,
right?
Right? When that happens, or when somebody takes somebody from me. Because all they did was the same thing. But you know what happens when artists get in the way, like stylists? They're like, no, they'll like recreate a movie in their head of how it's done. Their morals they want to bestow on you. They want to like, that's fucked up, that's grimy, that's
of course.
And
anybody
like,
tells it from their vantage point. It's them being the good guy, the hero.
I've gotten backlash, and here's the difference, right? I'm doing what I feel is right.
Right.
And what's right for the business.
Well, you said it correctly, and I wanted to touch on 2 points. You said that you're recruiting and giving somebody a better opportunity.
Absolutely.
So, I had this instance with Bill.
Yeah.
At Kinjo. He worked at 7 Doors Down. And Chef LT, that's his concept. That's their brainchild kind of together. Yeah, Blue Steel, right?
Steel,
and I love LT, and I don't think I handled it correctly.
Yeah. It's also a learning thing, man. It is.
It is. As a man, as a business owner, as a human being, But my thing was in my mind that I gave Bill an opportunity.
Correct.
Because he was a sous chef at Seven Doors. And I was giving him an executive chef opportunity, and I thought he was ready. And, you know, I still think my explanation is valid. However, I don't think I handled it the best way.
You're not going to, here's my experience. You're not going to win with no matter what. Because, like, when somebody leaves me, like, I'm cool with it, right? Like, first, I don't own anybody, right? And neither do you.
Right.
And neither do them, right? That's just what the fuck the fact is, right?
Right.
Then, second, because you invested people, you physically, emotionally invested.
Sure.
You're just not going to win that. You have to be okay with like this, because once you start making business decisions based on what your emotional output is, you're fucked.
No doubt.
You're doomed. You're letting the fucking, what do they say? You're letting the animals run the fucking zoo.
Right.
And I've been there, and I let it, like,
the inmates run the prison.
The inmates run the prison.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna let them. It's their place. It's this, and it's like, no, it's.
But there's a second part to that, right? And for me, it is that anybody who's on your side wants to see you win, regardless. Mm-hmm. If it's not for me, then go play for the Mets, the Jets, the Yankees. It doesn't matter. And that's the human element to it, right? And I said that to him, like, after I came back around. I was like, listen, I'm sorry, I fucked up, I didn't do it right. However, I know you're on his team and you want to see him win. And the beautiful news is we reconnected. He came back. He came in for dinner at Kinjo, and he's like, congratulations, this place fucking rocks, man. You know, like,
it works out no matter what. It's just not going to work out the way you want. I'm not here to tell somebody how to run their business. I don't want nobody to come in.
Right. But there's one more point to it. Our job is to protect the business. Sure. And under that umbrella, all those jobs are protected. And if one person is messing up the business, they're actually going to hurt everybody else's chances to keep their job, right? Yeah. So that's our job. Number one, protect the business, and it takes care of everybody else.
I'll put it in, like, and I know we got to wrap up soon. So it's like, I got the message from Marvin, the little bird. So, like, here's my thing. I have to ultimately be able to sleep at night. I know I'm a great person.
Right.
I know I do good. I'm not perfect.
I like how you're in prayer position, too.
Making sure. Somebody, if we could get some AI rosaries on this.
We're great humans here.
I'm actually, like, doing my pose. No, seriously. So, like, I work with, like, if I have a relationship with you, right? I'm just not going to do it. That's mine. That's not your morals, nothing. I can't bestow that on you. I can't expect that of you, nothing, right? Like, those are my beliefs. Forget them. Okay. Those are my beliefs, right? Okay. I don't want to fuck it up if I have a great relationship with you. Okay. Somebody comes, I'm going to call you shit. Once that line gets crossed, right? And I'm just like, I'm just not going to fuck with you. You know what I mean? And I'm saying, obviously, you know, because somebody did it to me.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I know.
And it is what it is. It's cool. But just, like, the other thing is, like, I'm going to swallow you afterwards.
Well, here's the deal. And that's a beautiful thing.
Because, like, you got to understand the relationship. If it's important,
right,
then act like it's important.
Right.
Once it's not, you expect me to continue to have, I'm just not gonna.
Right.
And then, like, all bets are off. And not in a violent or some fucked up force.
No, I know.
But, like, you will not be in any thought process that I have of the decision I have to make.
Right.
The relationship is what, like, makes me pause, and it's good.
And I appreciate and understand that. I have a little bit of a bigger plan that, you know, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I want LT to come work under the umbrella, and he calls it the dark side. Yeah. So I'll message him once a week. You ready for the dark side? Because now he sees Bill, and he sees him happy, and he sees all the, you know what I mean? He gets all this media and PR and attention. And listen,
you're valuable. You have value. So I'm gonna jump on the same thing, right? Not so, like, the same thing is offered. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck with me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Real talk, like, fuck with me.
Right.
Let's do it together.
Right. That's the difference.
The thing is this, right? Forget anybody personalities. Like, I'm going here. I know we're going here as an organization. Fuck with me. There's plenty of room. I need help.
Right.
We can do it together. It's not an ego thing, me. Once it becomes like, nah, or fuck you, like, it's cool. I'm just going this way.
I'm still going.
Like, my focus is in you, but you best believe, like, when shit happens too, my focus is in you either. There's an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it sounds sometimes a little fucked up, but that's because I don't have the emotional thing in it.
It doesn't sound fucked up. Like, it sounds like you're still going where you're going no matter what. And honestly, like, you might feel a little better looking back once in a while when you're like, I told you, bro. Yeah. Like,
listen, I told you, bro.
You know who you are. Anyway, 2024, let's talk about it.
All right, let's wrap up with that, man. 2024. What are your plans? And now, hear me out before you answer, right? Because not a play-by-play. Let's start it.
I didn't bang the table, but I want to fucking...
I know, you're excited. What does the end of 2024 look like? And then
The end of 2024 looks like all businesses are financially sound, earning, dropping money to the bottom line. We are set and ready for growth in 2025.
I like that.
That's what 2024 is for me.
So focus on what you have right now. Be more efficient. Like squeeze everywhere.
Solidify every single solitary
So that you can
SOP.
grow. Cool.
Every single SOP needs to be finalized down to the penny, everywhere, where everybody's on the same page.
Because you can't grow if your shit's not together.
No, everybody's got to drink the same fucking Kool-Aid this year. 24, everybody's got to drink the same Kool-Aid. And whoever doesn't, that's fine. Just there's an opportunity somewhere else for you. It's not in this company. And I'm hyper focused on that. So that's where we're at, man. I'm fucking, you could feel the excitement, right?
I'm on the same thing for 2024.
That's it.
2023 was challenging in a good way. It got me so good, man. I'm like really fucking good in the sense of what I learned, right?
Right.
And who I became, what my values are. I'm more assertive. I'm quicker. I'm everything and I do everything with love. I'm not like asshole. I'm not nothing.
Right.
I'm not dictator. I'm just like, listen, it's just not working out. Or I'm like, hey, I expect these reports here, or why is this not happening?
Right.
I follow up more. I have a call to action, and
You're accountable to yourself, and you expect everybody around you to be accountable as well.
I don't expect it like I do, but
you demand it.
I demand and I hold them. There's a difference.
There is a
I
difference.
had to learn that. Where I'm
There
like,
is a
I want
difference.
everybody to like me. I want to like, and then I got run over.
They'll like you more as they grow with you.
And that's what happened.
They'll respect
The
you
right
more.
people.
Right.
I don't need everybody, right? And the other thing too is like, as I grow, and I make sure I do it on my terms. I'm not ashamed of the stuff I work hard for and I get, whether it's materialistic, whether it's growth, whether it's anything. And like,
Say it.
no, I'm being
Say
dead ass
Lambo.
because like,
I had to throw that in there.
like
Say
no,
Blue Lambo. Say it. Miami Blue.
it's blue Glock.
Sorry, my
But
bad.
like, cause
I don't speak
when I
Lambo
was
yet.
growing up, it's like, cool, this is what you want. Then you start getting, and people are like, nah, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's, I think, like, that's like fueling me too. Like, not fuck you, but just like,
It's funny.
you like it, right? Cool. Well, I'm gonna fuck with you.
Amen.
You know?
Amen. It's funny because I don't feel the good as much as I don't feel the bad. And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. It's like you told me before, people are looking up to you. I don't see it like that.
Yeah.
I just know that I'm more in tune with who I'm supposed to be and I'm moving in the right direction. And those who are here, I can't wait to bring them up.
I'm
And
excited.
those who are not, sorry, brother.
I'm excited.
You know?
Listen, on that note, if you want to fuck with me or you want to fuck with Jamie, hit us the fuck up. That's what we do. We love fucking with people that are making shit happen, that want to make shit happen. My phone calls during the day are like, yo, what are you doing? How are you getting it? What's going on? And I don't mean money, relationship. Yo, you fixing your relationship with your wife? Where are you going on vacation? What are you buying? What are your challenges? Are you fixing it? You're going to the gym? Whatever the fuck it is, we need more of that in our life. Like, that's what I want. I want to big up everybody that's doing that, right? And I want more of that in my life. I don't want to be the motivator guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to get fueled. That's what gets me fucking energetic. Shout out to Total War. Woo! We work out. Cool. And with that, we're fucking good, man. That's it.
Great
Thank you,
episode.
guys. Appreciate
Peace
it.
and love.